I'm recording on 3 devices tonight for Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. Um, yeah, coming to you all to share with y'all my experience of off-grid camping this weekend. I was a part of a group called Black to Nature. Is the name of the event that was being hosted. Black to Nature, and it was a camping experience, and I had a blast. I want to come on here and tell y'all a little more about it. Before I get started, if anyone is offended, they happen to be white, that is non doesn't consider themselves black or melanated, indigenous, color, this may not be the video for you. If it strikes a nerve that this was an all black camping event, I had somebody comment on a YouTube video earlier sharing their distaste for the lack of inclusivity of non-black folk persons. But I say that it's okay for us to have safe spaces for ourselves to be able to link up, do nature stuff. Because for one, a lot of, I ain't gonna say a lot, but where I'm from, a lot of black people ain't just out here in the woods carrying on in nature, using nature as a toilet and all that. A lot of us ain't on that type of time. So if we want to get together with just us and be in nature, we as black people are allowed to do that. There's so many inclusive spaces for non-black folk out here. It's ridiculous. So let us live. So yeah, just want to give that disclaimer. But yeah, so I'm gonna just hop into it, give y'all some oh, I did take notes so I could try not to forget nothing. Um, but it was a great experience. Why was I interested? How did I hear about it? So I'm on Facebook. I utilize my Facebook for networking purposes. And I ended up connecting with really cool people. I think I met the sister who runs this event. Her name is Zen Penn. I believe I met her through some type of black farmers group or gardening group or something or another. And just from following her, I started seeing her post about these cool events called Black to Nature, and I wanted to be a part. I wanted to go. I myself would consider myself a nature girl. I like doing things outside. I don't mind camping. It's one of those things that appeals to me, and it's a lifestyle that I've considered. But after this weekend, I'm considering very heavily. Ain't consider. I'm in motion. I'm putting in motion to make off grid living not just a dream but a reality. So yeah, so Zen Pen is how I came across this event. She resides in Texas, but she hosts these events um, out on in some country land, a little bit outside of Atlanta, but she also hosts them back in Texas. So I have been trying to make one of these events pretty much all year, and just time, finances, or whatever just was not aligning. And so for this one, I just really set my intentions on wanting to go. I didn't know how I was going to do it, didn't know how I was going to make it there. It was a Friday through Sunday type of trip with leaving out on Monday. I really didn't know how I was gonna make this trip happen, but just something in my spirit, I really wanted to go. And when I'm really adamant about something that I want, I just believe in the universe to provide it for me, and so it did. So this trip was actually sponsored by Healing Springs Farms. Want to shout out to them. They are a local co-op in the Greensboro, North Carolina area, and they also do work outside of Greensboro with helping folks become more acquainted with gardening, living off the grid. They have a number of other programs that run under them. I believe the Art is Life Foundation. There's a bunch of different things that Healing Springs Farms does. They have young urban farmers, which is people like myself within the co-op that go out and do amazing things. Learning about, like I said, gardening, self-sustainability, off-grid. We have some community gardens in the area. So, yeah, so I was sponsored by them. And because Healing Springs Farm was a part of helping me make the trip uh for Black to Nature, we were able to call and get some donations from some places. Because let me tell you how unprepared for this trip I was, right? So I hadn't, like I said, I hadn't really shared this with nobody. I was just, this was gonna be a go and a peaceful trip for myself. Like I said, I met the young lady who runs the event off of Facebook, so I was just gonna go, meet these people, have a good time on my own, not tell nobody. But as I was speaking to my good sis that runs Healing Spring Farms, um and we got to talking, and this is totally up her alley and her vibe. She was like, well, okay, well, let's ride down there together. I was about to try to catch a bus. I didn't know how I was gonna make it, so I also did not have a tent. I didn't have a sleeping bag. I just had myself. I had some thick blankets, some pillows, and I was just gonna show up because I'm like, I'm me, and God always provides. So even if I go and I'm thinking sleeping on the ground is an option, I soon learn temperatures change. You know, all kinds of stuff happens trying to sleep outdoors. But I just felt like somebody would let me sleep in a tent, or something would be provided for me. I just didn't foresee not being taken care of. So that was my thought process. But Healing Springs Farm came through, and we were able to get some tents donated to us, so that was helpful. So yeah, so we drive out. It's on the outskirts of Atlanta, about an hour away. We meet at this pickup location. We Zen Pen pulls up with her hubby Troy, and we're off to the destination spot. She picked a central location to meet, because I see why. Because the land is ducked off in some woods somewhere, and had she gave us longitude and latitude, it might have been a little confusing. Might have passed by it. Who knows? So I was thankful for the meetup and pickup. So that was cool. So when we get there, somebody had got left behind. So they had to go back for them. So as we were entering, there were some people there that was already at the camp to greet us as we pulled up. Their names were Amor and Divine, or was it Divinity? Oh, what was that girl name? Anywho, we had two people come and greet us, and the sister, she didn't have no top on, had a little breast out, and in the email, or in the email prior to coming to this event, Zen let us know that this is that type of event. Not saying you got to be naked or expose yourself or anything, but it's that type of event where if you want to just come and be your natural free self, people from all different type of backgrounds. You got your Moors, your Muslims, your probably whoever. It's a mix of different type of black people that will be meeting up. So we was greeted by Amor and Divinity, and they showed us to the area where we were going to be at. There was some other people there already. Amor went and helped. He's a guy. He went and helped us unpack our tents and put them up, and I was just so grateful. I was just so grateful. So that was nice. It was cool meeting new people coming in, being taken care of. People, already in their vibe, shoes off. Like I said, oh girl, I had no shirt on, so people was just young, wild, and free out there. Okay. And we used a wheelbarrow to carry some of our items. Oh, thanks. Welcome to Case and nice ambiance. We used a wheelbarrow to carry our items from the car to where we were at. It was just like a short walk, but it was nice. So the land, like I said, is ducked off. It wasn't. It was something you could easily miss driving down the road. And it was like one front half, which Zen's dad, this is his land, so he had like the front part, and then and it had like a garden area in the shed where he stayed, and the cabin where Zen stayed. And then it had like a part that was a little further back, that was where the bulk of us were at. And so we had all our tents set up back there. They had like a food table station set up. There was a fire pit going. It was just a good vibe, real fun, real fun. So what else? Um, and again, shout out to Camper World for the donation of those tents, because baby, they did me well. They did us real well. I had a 3-person tent. My good sis Earthfeather had an 8-person tent, and it was nice. We were comfortable. We were able to be lodged from the elements, and so that was nice. So yeah, so the first day, so it was a 3-day event. It was a Friday to Sunday type of event. So the first day, we come in, like I said, we got help with our tent set up, and there was just some socializing going on. We hadn't done a meet or greet yet, just people getting to know each other, vibing around a campfire and stuff like that. So then at some point, Troy, who is the partner to Zen Pen, how I found out about this event, he gave us like a tour of the space, of the woods, and y'all, it was really off grid, okay? Like, there were shower areas within the woods. There was also a bathroom area within the woods. Nothing was blocked off. Now, mind you, I've been to lands where I guess they're technically kind of off gridish, and they have like an outdoor shower bill or outdoor toilet with like wooden panels and like a nice truck. This was not that. Not to say that it wasn't nice, well put together or thought out, or that I was ungrateful for the space, but it just wasn't that. So if you're interested in camping or off-grid living, or even if you're not, these are just things to be aware of. So with these particular spaces, they had a shower bag, like a camp shower bag. And I guess if you're into camping or been in Boy Scouts or Girl Scouts or anything, you might be aware of these, but I had never seen one. But it's basically just like a plastic bag that you pour your gallon of water into, and it has like a little spigot, a tube with like a shower head like. I say like because it's not nothing like a shower head, but a little shower head like nozzle at the end. And it has an on and off lever. So if you want it on, the water will be just leaking out continuously, and when you turn it off, it'll be off. And when the bag is empty, it's empty. You fill it up with more water if you need more time. So they had an area out there, and the women's area, the shower area, was kind of cute because they had a little log with citronella candles on it, so you could burn it because citronella is good for keeping insects away. They had some Dr. Bronner soap out there. They had a mirror hanging on a tree, and then they had the shower bag hanging up on a tree. So that was really cool. Peace, alien black girl. Um, so that was really cool. And then they had a compost toilet, y'all. So further back in the woods, they had another tree with a cardboard sign that says occupied or vacant, that you flip when you go into this wooded area. And there was a compost toilet. So for those that don't know what composting is, let me go ahead and explain it real quick. In the gardening world, composting is typically when you take your fruit and veggie scraps and you put them into a bucket or into a ground or some system. Either way, you're letting these fruit and veggie scraps and your nitrogen and carbon, whether that be leaves or newspaper, eggshells, grass clippings, all of these things combined. If you let them sit, they'll break down and turn into soil, which you can use in your garden, which is a natural way to be able to add nutrients and stuff to your soil. So that's something that I do just at my home. But a compost toilet is a way to utilize your human waste, which also can turn into compost or be added to compost. Because in gardening, sometimes, we utilize cow manure or something like that. And so this is just a human way to utilize manure. Alien Black Girl says, this sounds so great, my kind of experience. You would really love it, and I'm going to have to send you the information for the next one. So the sister that hosts these, she hosts them between her Texas property and her Atlanta property, or is outside of Atlanta, about an hour outside of Atlanta. So I'll be posting more info about it. I want to go on this one alone just to see for myself, just to meet the people, get the vibe, and I love it. So I told her I'm coming back. I'm telling my people, got to get more people out there experiencing it. Again, for those just tuning in, I'm doing a recap of my Black to Nature off-grid camping experience that I took this weekend. Okay, so moving along. So we talked about the compost toilet. I was explaining compost. So the toilet is basically like a wooden structure, and it had a hole in it shaped in a heart, and underneath it was just like a bucket, like a paint bucket. And it had a toilet seat on top of this wooden structure. So you can nail, a toilet seat in anywhere. So it was just nailed in. And what we were instructed to do was, once we utilized the toilet, to add some lime. There was a bucket of lime beside the toilet, to add a cup of that in it to cover up, your mess. And yeah, so that's pretty much it. They had some toilet tissue and wipes and hand sanitizer out there, but that was it. But it's outside. There was no walls blocking you, but it was further enough back that even if somebody was walking up and didn't change the vacant or occupancy sign, they could holler out, or they could vaguely see you through the trees and not come and disturb you. So initially I didn't want to use it. I didn't plan on using it because I'll pee outside, I'll pee in the woods. That was nothing. I had my baby wipes and toilet tissue and stuff, so I wasn't planning on using it. But at one point, we was eating beans. So we had all kind of legumes this weekend, chickpeas and other beans. So at one point I had to go. And so it wasn't that bad of an experience. I cleansed my area properly, and did what they said do with the lime. And it was actually a peaceful experience, believe it or not. But again, I'm a nature girl. I'm into this kind of stuff. This is something that would probably, for most people, totally turn them off from camping or off-grid living. There's no way, Jose, I'm going to be outside in the woods shitting in a compost toilet with fake showers. I get it, with gallon bag showers. I totally get it. And I'm going to talk about how my trip ended before I came back to North Carolina when I get done. All right, so yeah, so we got a tour of that. Then the first day we ended with a bonfire and some dinner. So there were like basically about 3 meals a day: breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And people were snacking in between. Now this was a camp, so this was my first time. I was treating it like a retreat. Those of y'all that's been tapped in know that I cook vegan food, but I did not choose to. Peace, Casey. I did not choose to volunteer to cook this weekend. By the end of the third day, I something in my spirit did tell me to go ahead and get some potatoes on the stove, and I made a little veggie stir fry. But that was just because I felt led. But initially, I went into it not planning to cook, relaxing, treating it like a vacation because that's what it was for me. So there was a sister there that was cooking the whole time, and I'm assuming moving forward, it's a volunteer base. I don't know if that's something she just stood up and did, or she wanted to do, and nobody was helping her or what. But that was a lot of work to be doing for everybody because you miss out on certain stuff. You can't go do the mud bathing and the creek stuff or other events if you cooking all day for everybody. So I appreciate shout out to Sister Amora for cooking for us. But yeah, that was lit. So we had a bonfire. We was just fellowshipping. We had to get to know each other, say our name, what we do, how we found out, and what brought us to the camp. And then I went to bed like before 10. Mind you, I drove the whole 5 hours straight from North Carolina to I can't remember the city name. It was a newborn. It was an hour outside of Atlanta. So I went to bed early. So yeah. So I woke up. I woke up day 2 of the Black to Nature camp, shivering. I did a video at like 5 in the morning. Had terrible signal out there. I tried to post it on my YouTube. It didn't post. I think it might have just posted. I still think it hasn't posted. But I did a video because I want to create a vlog because I'm going to start recording and keeping you guys on my journey as I transition to off-grid living because that's the next step for me. So, yeah, I did a video talking about how you need to basically come prepared. Because remember, I came on this trip or was coming on this trip unprepared anyway. Didn't have a sleeping bag, tent, none of that. I was just about to be out here. So now that I have the tent and I'm out here, I did bring layers. I had brought some sweats and a hoodie and stuff like that. So I was doubled up, but it still was just a little nippy. Now the blanket I brought, it wasn't the thickest comforter I have, but it do have some insulation. So I guess I just assumed that was going to suffice. It did not. I woke up very cold and made a video about it. How you just basically need to be prepared. So hold on, let me count these stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Oh, that's something else I did on the first day. I was teaching some of the young girls how to crochet because I was just, I'm kind of quirky sometimes. I know I'm very outspoken and seem very extroverted, but sometimes when I'm getting to know new people, or like I said, this was supposed to be a vacation for me, even though there was a bunch of people there, I wasn't immediately excited about just being up in everybody's face, networking. I felt like it would come organically over the weekend. So one of the first things I did after setting up my tent was I found myself a spot on the ground and just started crocheting. And of course, that always brings questions. Are you knitting? What are you knitting? And I have to tell them the difference between knitting and crocheting. So, anyways, doing that, about 3 little girls came over there, and I started teaching them what I could. It was very difficult. It's very hard to kind of teach beginner crochet because it's based on how you hold it, and these young girls were young, so it was a challenge, but it was fun. So yeah, I did that first day before the bonfire and going to bed. Anyway, day 2, woke up cold, made a video about it that never got posted, but I will be posting it on my recap on my YouTube channel. So look out for that video. And when I woke up, first thing I wanted to do was make a fire. So I went out there. There was another sister. I guess about to get this fire started as well. And then Pop, the one who owned the land, Zen's dad, he came out and he was like, "Do you mind if I show you how to, basically start the fire better?" He was like, "There's nothing wrong with what you've done. I don't want to take away from what you're doing, but let me show you, a better way." And so he basically taught us how to lay down the logs in a certain way to create airflow underneath, and then stack more logs on top of those 2 logs so that you can have a good fire. And he said he puts a piece of paper or something underneath to get it started. I was putting some of the straw pine needles on top, and that helps catch fire good. I know from experience and prior studies that saving lint from a dryer is also a great fire starter. So yeah, so Pop taught us how to start a fire, and he also taught us about wood from a pine tree. Um, Dead, not dead pine trees, but pine trees that are falling or that are cut in such a way have a naturally flammable piece to them. And they actually use pine trees to create dynamite, is what I was told. And he showed us a piece that's kind of like oranges on the pine tree. And we smelled it, and it smells like pine saw. And I learned later on that if you use um, pine cones and cinnamon like in a boil, you'll kind of get a natural fragrance similar to pine sol in your home. And I actually brought home a bunch of Georgia pine cones that I will be um, dispersing and marketing for you all to have, so you can have, follows upon it, so y'all can have some nice scents in your home. But yeah, I enjoyed that early rising fire starting session with the elder. He got to be like 75. He was real cool. You could tell he was trying to stay out the way, but he was just also very taken aback and proud of what his daughter has done with this camping experience on his land, because he's been out there for at least 35 years by himself, living his best off-grid life, not dealing with people. And initially, he told us he was opposed to her doing the events because he was like, anytime a group of black people get together, it don't go good. But his daughter convinced him, well, Daddy, let those of us that want to do this try and come together. We need a peaceful experience like this. And she's been doing it for, I guess, the last year or two now. And he said he's just seen it grow, and he's just so proud of his daughter. And he was just beaming the whole time. He was a great guy, very great guy, stopping and having different conversations with us and teaching us different lessons along the way, individually and collectively. Shout out to Pop Pop. Okay, so yeah, day 2, woke up cold, learned how to start a fire. So this carried over with me for the remaining days, so I could get up and start a fire or help tend to a fire after it had started. Then Troy took us on a tour of the space, and we did some plant identification. So he showed us some things that regularly grow in most backyards, so that if you were in a state of emergency, grocery stores closed, or you're happy to be out in the wilderness and need to fend for yourself to survive. He showed us something that's on the ground. He said that's common in most backyards, called a pony's mouth, ponytail, pony shoe. Lord, hold on. What's the note? I got the notes on my phone. Pony, pony shoe, I believe, because it's shaped like a horse's foot, and it's kind of similar, not really similar to a clover, but it's probably in that family, but it's rounded like that. I have to do a separate video with just that and come back and let y'all know. But yeah, it's shaped in like a horse's foot, and he said that that's edible. You have to do a lot of harvesting of that if you're trying to survive, but it's something that you can eat and not die if you're in the wilderness. He showed us another plant that was called a yucca, like in the store, that people may cook, that has like a potato like texture. That's the root of the plant, kind of like potatoes are the root vegetable, or garlic is the root vegetable, and the tops sprout and bloom and do something else. So the yucca was like a kind of plant that had a lot of pointy green pieces on it. And I was like, yeah, wow, I didn't even know that was yucca. Didn't know that was the plant that you could eat. He also showed us, excuse me, what else did he show us that was edible? Oh, some wild strawberries. Um, he said a bunch of those grow over the land. He showed us some muscadine grapes that were growing. We also learned about, I feel like I'm forgetting something. Definitely forgetting something. But yeah, I'll probably do another video with that, a separate video on that, because it was really cool. And I should have took pictures. I should have took. Sometimes I'd be trying to be so immersed in the moment, and I was taking notes on my phone, so I wasn't really taking pictures. But I might have some pictures in my phone that I'll post separately about what we identified for plants. But that's why it's good to come on these trips, but also do your own studying. I have quite a number of books that I picked up from like Ed McKay. Sometimes you'll find them in the little free libraries. People giving away stuff. This one is a medicinal herb book that I got from was it Barnes and Noble? This is the Book of Herbs. I haven't read all of these, but just getting little books to help you along your journey. I have some that are smaller than that. All right, Nets. I got a pineapple in my room, y'all. I have a book. Oh, here go one called Herbs. It's that simple, called Herbs. And it just tell you about different herbs. And so these are good to, study, but also, y'all, and this is the part of the video I'm going to pause. Top 10 healing herbs. This is the part of the video where I'm going to pause because I'm really serious about it. Y'all saw what we went through in 2019 or 2020, 1920 with the pandemic, as I like to call it. It can happen again. You guys need to have a preparedness bag, kit. You need to be practicing things like off-grid living. Even if you have no intent of ever living off-grid, you need to know how to be able to hold your own if you're in a situation where you end up in a wooded area or you end up with your house blown down. Anything can happen. Being prepared is better to stay ready, so you don't have to get ready. So even keeping a bag with simple things like, extra washcloths, water, wipes, a first aid kit, a flashlight, knives, twine, things that you might need to tie stuff with, matches, your firearms. It's so many things that we need to do to stay ready, so we don't have to get ready, to stay prepared. Um, and plant identification is one of those things. So keeping a little guidebook on certain herbs and plants that you might find in the woods would be helpful. Also, going to certain camps like the Black to Nature camp that I'm telling you all about, or foraging for different plants and herbs or mushrooms. It's just good to know what's out here. And the more you read or practice or study, the more that you'll start to learn. And you might go on one of these trips one time and forget everything you learned because it's not ingrained in you yet. You haven't studied it enough yet, and that's okay. But it's always a new day to start something new. So I hope that spoke to your spirit and you do something different as far as looking out for you and make sure you're good under any conditions. Moving along. So we did the plant identification, which I'll post about separately, some of the plants that I learned about. And then also for on day 2, we had a mud bath. So Papa, who I was talking about earlier, who landed is, he got his little tiller out and he dug a hole in the red clay that he had, and we poured some water into it, and we got into that thing and we immersed ourselves in the clay. Now when I say we, it was a conglomerate of adults and children. Like, it was a really good balance, and it wasn't like annoying either. Sometimes depending on the event, children can kind of feel a little in the way, or and this wasn't like that at all. The children were free to run and play. A lot of them were within the same age group, so they linked up, was creating friendships and relationships. They had their tiffs and stuff like that. But overall, it was a great time. 1 second, let me count because I'm off count. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1. This should be 2. So yeah, the children was playing, having a good old time. I'm good with children, and so I was like instantly connecting with some of them, especially because I had started off crocheting with some of them. And Zen's daughter, Emmy, she's like my new best friend. She's better than all the adults and children I know combined. She's just such a beautiful soul. I am intrigued and excited about her life. She's just such a great young lady. But anywho, we was all in, and she was getting her life. Like, she was really being a kid. Like, she was all in that mud, splashing. Because at first I thought I was just going to get my like my legs and arms or something like that. But then I ended up getting like my whole body. I had on a bathing suit. Some people were not all the way naked, but some of the women might have had their tops off. But I had a bathing suit on, and Emmy just in there flopping around. She getting mud in my eye and on people. Like, it was just like Emmy was living her best life, and I couldn't even be mad. I was like, you know what? She's a child, and this is the weekend for that. Let me embrace it. So we all out there. You can see some people, getting out of their comfort zone, doing something they had never done before, not trying to get too dirty. It was a great time. But for those that know, or even if you don't know, you about to know, clay, especially red clay, is a great way to like detox the body. And it's also a good way to help with your skin, because it has a lot of natural earthly properties and minerals within it that aid in your skin looking better. So that was fun. So then afterwards we hopped into a Pop truck and Troy truck and went down the street to this creek, where we washed off. The water was pretty cold, but it was a good time. It was That whole experience was just really, really nice. So yeah, we came back to the camp. Food was waiting on us. Again, shout out to Amora, showing love, cooking for us. Um, I went and took an outdoor shower. So I was telling y'all that the outdoor shower is not closed off. It was, it wasn't the finest of outdoor showers. I've been in an outdoor shower before, and this was nowhere close to that. But you know what? I'm grateful. I'm grateful to have been in nature. I'm grateful to have experienced something new. I just have positive thoughts about it. So I took my gallon, and I actually didn't even take a full gallon. I took like half of a gallon of water that I let sit in the sun for a little bit so it could kind of be warm, since you can't change no shower settings with an outside camping bag shower. So I took that, filled the bag up. And I learned my lesson. It has an on or off switch. So if you don't want to waste water, you need to turn that off switch off when you're scrubbing, so that you don't waste all the water out your bag. So, but they had like a little cute little mirror back there on a tree. They had a chair sitting out there. They had a little mat that was supposed to be like the shower mat. It was reflective and stuff. They had a log with some citronella candles on it, which I didn't use, but that would have been nice. But I wasn't really affected by the bugs. But if insects are would have been bothersome, then the candles were there. Um, Watching your crochet is soothing. Oh, yes. I should do some ASMR videos. Anywho, so I bathed. I took some pictures and videos of me outside shower bathing, up against the tree where this water bag was leaking my shower water, and I just really enjoyed my time out there. Went back to my tent, lotioned down, got dressed. Um, and then came out around to fellowship with people. So that was a big part of it that I haven't really been going into, but just meeting the different people. It was over 13 of us there. Might have been close to 20. I'm probably forgetting some people, but it was at least 13 of us, not including the kids. It was probably about 5, 6 different children, ranging from age 3 to about 8. And it was just a vibe. It was really a good time. People from all different backgrounds, people in the health and fitness, in the photography. Some people already have land and are gardeners. Some people went to the last Black to Nature camp, and this Black to Nature camp, they've already started. They've like sold everything and are purchasing land, or are about to relocate to the land with Zen where she at, until they find their own land and do their own thing. And so I just thought that was really cool. Some of these people were repeat returners to the event and are already about that off grid life. And some of us were new. There's people with musical backgrounds. There's one sister, she's a part of a music group called the Family Orchestra, which I need to check out. Just, people in the photography and fashion design, just all over around cool people to network with. So I was having a good time, talking to people, getting to know people. So anyway, day two, Saturday, there was a plant ceremony that took place. You had the option to, I guess you would call him a shaman, but the brother that was leading the plant ceremony, he had the options of hepe or some mushrooms, and I'll leave it at that. Anybody know anything about those experiences, or if you don't, look into it. But people was having their own journeys, and I watched for a little bit, and then I went to bed. I don't know, it was just something about me going to bed before 10 or right around 10. I was getting my life. I needed my rest. I had a full day. All right, so day 3, Sunday, was the last day of the event, and it was just a chill day because it was the last day of camp. So some people headed out earlier in the day, some people headed out later in the day. But most of the people left, so we went from probably about 13 or more down to probably about 7 or 8 people. Some people left and went to Atlanta to drop off people and do stuff, and then came back. And we sat up under this moonlight, around the bonfire. But before that, earlier that day, we did learn about solar panels. So Troy showed us some things, about the solar panels that they had on the property. And so basically what I learned was that the information for the solar panels are located on the back. So it'll tell you how many volts, and stuff like that, that the solar panel has. And so what Troy was telling us was, if you're looking to replace like your electric bill, or when you move off grid, if you need to know how much electricity that you need to use, look at your current light bill. You'll see how much voltage that you use per month, in your house. And so what you want to do is buy solar panels that will add up to that. So I don't know, I'm in math ain't my thing, but let's say you got use 1,000 watts, you can get however many 250 watt solar panels that you'll need. It might be, three or four or five of them to equal the 1,000 watt usage that you use in your home. So something like that. He also explained to us that you need a, what's it called? Controller, a solar. Oh, what is the word? A solar. It's like an adapter controller. Some solar panel, something controller. I'm forgetting the name right now. It's slipping me. But basically, it's this device that you need that'll hook up into the solar panel, and the battery that lets you know how much voltage is stored or how much more you need to collect to, reach your target voltage. And then also, he told us to invest in a marine battery versus just like a regular car battery you would get from one of the AutoZone stores or something like that. Get a marine battery because it lasts through all type of weather conditions. I think he said that's the battery that they use in different boats or whatever, but it can go underwater, it can do all kind of things that a regular car battery just won't do. So I thought that was a great tip. And then he also taught us about getting an adapter. He said the solar panels collect something called direct current energy. And when it comes to wanting to utilize the solar panel for like appliances, like your washer and dryer or a TV or something that's going to, refrigerator is going to take a lot of voltage, then you can't use just direct current energy. You need to switch to AC. And I forgot what the AC stood for. Um, but yeah, you need that device to basically convert your solar power energy into the type of energy that you'll need to run those appliances. And so I thought that was really cool to learn about solar panels. And again, all of these things that I learned are cost saving ways to still live how we live now without having to worry about so much bills. So yes, off grid living comes with a lot of lack of convenience. It can come with some discomfort, but you can also make your off grid living experience what you want. You can be off grid ish because on their Texas property, they have internet, they have water, and they have. I still think they're using solar panels. I don't think they're paying electricity. Or maybe they said their electricity bill is like $100 a month. I think that is what he said. Maybe they do have it, but they only pay like $100 because they're using mostly solar. So you can still be out of the city limits in a country type environment, having a homestead type of situation going on, but still have some of the amenities that you would utilize, if you were living in the city, like your water and lights and electricity and stuff like that. So that's a case by case basis, depending on how off grid you want to be, where you're at, the laws within your city and state and county and all of that. But yeah, that was cool to learn about. Then there was also some building session that was going on. I missed out on it because I was in my hammock relaxing and reading. But there was something going on where they were collecting dirt and moving tires and building some like infrastructure to, I guess, protect from the weather or whatever, because that is a part of off grid living you're going to encounter. Luckily, it didn't rain or anything while I was out there. But living outside, you are going to encounter weather. So it's good to have some structures built if you don't have a shed, if you don't have a cabin. And I'll talk about that too. So on the land, there was like a shed like building where Zen and her family was sleeping at. And my other friend has that on her off grid property as well. And basically, you can go to different stores, I guess the Lowe's, the Home Depots, but there are other stores that sell like mobile unit homes, or I'm not mobile unit, that's not what I'm trying to say, but basically housing structures that can go on your property. So like I keep calling these a shed because they're not but so big. Like it reminds me of like storage sheds that you put your garden tools or something in outside. So they have some that are a decent size, especially if you're like myself, single with no children. You can find one that's like a decent size, and you can pay it off like 200 or plus a month, or you could pay it all in total, just depending on what you get. Some of them are as cheap as 5,000, 6,000, and some, that are wider or whatever, have more things going on with it, of course, can cost more. So they have one of those on the property, and I really like the idea of those because it can still add for some comfort to your off-grid living situation. These spaces did have uh storage space at the top of them. And then some of them, they're built 2-story, or you can, you can have them built however you want. So I thought that was really cool. And there was a garden area out there where Pop was growing stuff. So it was just a really cool, it was, the whole experience was just lit. All right, so wrapping up day 3. Yeah, we just ended it with chill vibes around a campfire, talking, looking at the stars. Some people saw some shooting stars go by. Some saw bright uh green or orange globs fly by, and then the conspiracy theory talk started coming out about aliens. Anytime black people, especially intellectual black people, get together, we're gonna bring up some type of history. We're gonna talk about aliens. We're gonna talk about the beginning of time. It's inevitable. It's just bound to happen. So a lot of that was going on. And I thoroughly enjoyed myself. So the next morning, Monday morning, which was what, yesterday, myself and Earth Feather, we got up, we packed up our tents, cleaned up our spaces, was heading out. And it was bittersweet because I didn't want to go. I had such a good time. The energy was great. The people were great. And it was like I had met family, because I'm not as close to a lot of my blood family as I would like. And I don't feel like I resonate or relate to a lot of them, and vice versa. And it's not always on a negative tip. For some of them, it is, not the most positive experience that we have. But some of it is just our age different. We didn't grow up together. We're not interested in the same things, so we're not generally hanging around one another. And just because we're family don't mean we get up and celebrate all holidays and stuff together. I do that with certain pockets of family certain times a year. So that's my experience with like family. So I really am creating my family as I go. And this was just like, I had met my kindred spirits, my kindred folk. I didn't want to leave. I was really enjoying my time with them. So I was like crying a little bit as I was driving off. But I had only had, the outdoor shower and the compost toilet, and was cold one night and hot the next. I was sweaty, and I was a little icky, and I was ready to get back to some city life. I definitely enjoyed the off grid, and could and would continue to do it. But it's like when you know the comforts that await you, you look forward to them. So because we was only an hour outside of Atlanta, we stopped by Jeju Spa, which is an Asian spa in Atlanta. It's a 24-hour spa. Our intent was to maybe go in Thursday night and be relaxed and come into the camping that morning, but it ended up working out that we got to camp at the time we did on Friday afternoon. And then Monday morning we headed to the spa. We was there from the morning time to the afternoon time. And Jeju Spa, now, I've been before for my birthday, but I didn't know what to expect then. This time I knew what to expect. And I'm not sure of the culture of Asians and how they do spa stuff, but I guess I learned. I was just signing up to do one of these. The confirmation is needed. Ashe, go for it, baby. I'm talking about the Black the Nature camping, outdoor off-grid camping event that I just went to this past weekend. You can follow, if you missed the live, you can follow the recap on YouTube. I am recording it live there, so it'll be there. But yeah, definitely need to do it. And I am now in the process of transitioning to off-grid living space. Like, I'm really that serious about it. I'll come back into town. I'll still be doing my, hosting my shows and events and cooking and catering every now and then. But for just my sake of peace of mind and spirit, I need to be near nature and the trees. Like, my attitude in the city, I be short with people. I don't like when people don't use common sense, don't think for themselves, ask a bunch of questions, don't read. Because everybody moving so fast paced. Customer service ain't that great. People don't really like their jobs. Like, it's just so much that I don't want to deal with. In the city, my attitude is much better when I can dip off away from people, have my alone time, have my phone off, not have to be attached to my phone by the hip. And a lot of those things that I do is technology based, posting stuff, keeping track of whatever. Like, I enjoyed the fact that my videos wouldn't upload over the weekend. I'm trying to vlog and stuff. I enjoyed that I had to kind of wait till I got back to the inner city. But anywho, I was talking about the spa trip. Oh, hey, boo. Yes, love. So I was anyways, we went to the spa, Jeju. So like I said, I don't know much about Asian culture or how they get down, but you gotta get naked if you wanna go to the they have like a jacuzzi and a sauna, a wet sauna, a dry sauna. They have a jacuzzi, they have a warm pool, and then they have like a really cold pool, and then they give a bunch of spa services. So you can get a nice good rub down, a scrub, yoni steams, all of that. But you do have to get naked in the women's locker room. Same for the men. If you want to get all of these services, because I guess their standard on cleanliness is very top tier, and I'm not mad at it. And as dirty as I was from being off grid this weekend, I know I needed to shower first before I got anybody pull a tub. So that can always be a little uncomfortable. But if you're a nudist or if you are connected with your body, it's not such a bother for you. So it wasn't such a bother for me. I just got over it. Saw a lot of interesting body types. I saw black women bodies look way different than the Asian women bodies, and even some of the white women. I was just blessed to be a black woman. I'll say that. I felt really good about being in the skin that I am in. Nonetheless, I had a great time at the spa. So outside of the area where you get naked, they also have a common area where it's a food court, and there are other different saunas that you can go into. Some hotter than others. There was a red clay room. There was an ice room. There was a room that was really cold. Apparently, something about that going in cold and going in hot is good for opening your pores on your skin, because they had the cold pool and then the warm pool and then the jacuzzi in the naked sauna, and then they also had a very cold room and some hot sauna rooms in the common area. So I don't really like them cold rooms. I ain't like the cold room or the cold pool. I couldn't really handle it. But I'm gonna keep going. I'm making self-care part of my routine, and I do like that spa, and Atlanta's not that far from me, so I am gonna make it a point to start going there. And I heard the YMCA, if you have a membership there, some of them also have saunas and stuff. So I'm gonna make it a point to indulge in that a little bit more, because it felt good. I came out feeling refreshed and clear. It was just a great way to add some much needed relaxation to my off grid getaway. I do a lot of work for people in my community. I'm always looking out for people, cooking, standing, gardening, doing stuff, back breaking stuff. I've been saying I needed a massage. And so I was able to get what I needed at the spa, baby. There was this one room that wasn't really sauna like it wasn't really hot, because some of them saunas was a little much on me. I was sweating. You gotta drink, you gotta stay hydrated going in them. But one of them was just a jade room, a crystal room full of jade, and I forgot what it said it was good for. Um, but I sat in there. I got a little nap in there, and I seen some people that I don't know if she was homeless or a traveler or what, but this one sister was plugging her phone up, laying out, and she had like her sleeping bag out, and you could tell she had a few items with her. And I thought that was cool. Like, I'm reading this book now. This is kind of totally unrelated, but not really. I'm reading this book. I just started it, called The Art of Unruly Travel on a Budget, by this lady named Kaylin and Otto, and I bought it from her from a vegan festival that I was at some years ago. She is I think, a vegan and a animal rights activist enthusiast or whatever. But I bought this book and had never read it. But now that I've taken this trip and I'm really into off grid living, and I'm really into traveling more and living my life more, I just been feeling like I just been in my city, been putting a lot of work in the city, but I'm not as passionate about some of the things as I once was. And I want to travel. I want to be free. I don't have no man, no kids, nothing holding me back. Like, I want to do some of these things while I had a chance. And so as I'm reading this, she's just talking about different ways to, like, budget, and thinking about this book and thinking about the example I just gave about the young lady that might have been traveling or homeless that was at the spa. That's one of those ways that if you are, out traveling, or sightseeing or doing certain things, what are some places that you could dip off in and sleep for the night that are welcoming to you? And that would for sure be a spot, if I was traveling or on a road, or, in between housing situations, because it's fairly affordable. It's like $35 just to go and experience all the things that I named. That's not mentioning you purchasing the extra services for the body scrubs and the yoni steams and all that. It's $35 to come in and just enjoy the different spas and pools and saunas. So yeah, so that basically was my Black to Nature camping retreat. Well, it wasn't a retreat, but it was a retreat for me. But Black to Nature camping. As stated at the beginning of the video, someone on YouTube commented, I had uploaded a video, a white person commented, talking about something, well, how would you feel if there was a whites only camping trip, people, would be up in arms about it and da da da. I was like, to be honest, I don't even really think we would care. I don't think black people would care because white people have enough inclusive spaces to do what they want to do, and the fact that the majority of white people can utilize their privilege and are in an income bracket where they can afford to just take some time off for one to go be in the woods, can afford to do that, have the resources of getting tents and sleeping bags and whatever. Not saying all white people, but most people that enjoy these things have access to be able to do these things on a whim. So if we as black people want to get together and be indigenous and black in our own right together in the comfort of our safe space on our black owned land, we have the right to do that. Okay. Everybody wasn't against segregation. Everything ain't got to be inclusive. Some things are FUBU, baby, for us by us. So I enjoy my black to nature camping trip with all black people on some black land, having a good black time. It was a array of different people. People were so funny and talented. I'm definitely looking forward to the next one. I'll be posting information about the Sister Zen Pen that hosts the events. Her next one will be October 28th through the 30th in San Antonio, Texas. This one was right outside of Atlanta. I believe these are the two camping spaces she's doing in. But again, remember who sponsored me on this trip. Healing Springs Farm sponsored me on this trip. They have land out in Alton, Virginia that they're going to be opening to some experiences. So we might have a Black to Nature trip coming near you soon in Alton, Virginia, which is about an hour outside of Greensboro, North Carolina. So I hope you all learned something new from my journey with camping. Do I have any more notes? I guess some takeaways that I would say is be as prepared as you can be. And even if you're not, I meant to say this earlier in the video because I don't know how many people are going to make it to the end. But even if you're not prepared, sometimes we stop ourselves from doing things because we're not prepared or we don't know how something. I say do it scared and go out on a whim and trust in your higher power. When you have pure intention and an energy and a knowing to do something, you will be surprised how the universe will make a way. Okay, I knew I wanted to go to this trip. I knew I had missed the last ones. I knew financially it wouldn't be the most responsible for me to try and make this trip because I have a roommate and bills and things I have to pay and other debts that need to be taken care of. I have my vegan markets that I have to pay for the rental of the space. It was so many excuses or reasons I could have gave myself to not come on this trip. But I was like, you know what? I'm going on this trip. Something's going to happen. And up until the very last day, like I said, I didn't tell nobody. I didn't tell anybody from my tribe. Peace and more. I didn't tell anybody from my tribe. I was going to try to sneak and go, have a good time and be alone. And just happened to be with my good sister that has and is living on off-grid land. Who is the sponsor of Healing Springs Farm, who was able to get us tents because of her nonprofit, and was able to sponsor me on this trip. And it was beautiful, and I was able to get a ride there, so I didn't have to worry about catching the bus and catching Ubers. There was a sister that was, if I had caught a plane or a bus, there was a sister that was going to meet me in Atlanta and take me to the land. She ended up not even coming. Her dad's in the hospital, and so she ended up not even coming so she could be on standby for him. And everything just worked out beautifully. And when I got there, like I told you, I had the tent that was donated to us. Shout out to Camper World. But I was cold the first night, and I told Zen, and the next night she'd give me a sleeping bag. And I was so warm the next night I didn't even know if it was cold. Couldn't even tell you if it was cold because I was so warm. So sometimes just do it scared and unprepared. I ain't saying move through life like that. Now, some planning and preparation need to be in place. But I am saying sometimes you just gotta let go and let God. Just trust yourself and just trust that what will be will be. And if you really want it, if the desire is really in your heart, I am a proponent and an example that the universe will make a way and provide for you. And this is not the only time this happened in my life. I gotta write a book or do a video, but when I moved to Chicago, when I first graduated college in 2013, my first job was going door to door talking to people, making money from commission only. I go back to this story a lot because it was just so pivotal in my journey into where I'm at now. I not left the company, but the same person that owned the cable company I was going door to door for owned some type of company in Chicago where we help people with their light bills. And I went up there on a whim, very ill prepared. There was an apartment that was accessible to us, but it was a slumlord, roof falling, leaking, refrigerator not working, had to leave our food outside because it's cold as bricks in Chicago in December. Rats getting in our stuff because we ain't know how to keep it safe. That was just a whole journey. But throughout that whole journey, I left the job that I came up there with, left that company, went to another company while I was out there, left that company, and was doing something totally unrelated to what I was doing when I moved to Chicago. Ended up taking pictures of foreclosed homes. I'm in bandos, drug dealers, stash houses, taking pictures for these people owe property taxes, and my job was to go in and take pictures of the space and make a report on it, and was getting paid under the table that way, and ended up getting a little house out there. Now some of these things didn't go as planned. That house, I ended up getting stuff left in there. We ended up having to move out, but we were already in another state, not living there. It's so much to that whole Chicago story that I'll share one day. But I will say, just by moving off of faith and doing it scared, so many blessings came to me. I met so many amazing people. I had so many amazing experiences. And so we can't let the moral of the story, we can't let our fear and hesitancies get in our way. If I would have just gave up on trying to get to the Black to Nature trip, I would have missed out and continued watching Zen posting about it, and I wouldn't have got to experience it. And now I feel so much more connected with nature and this off-grid living experience that I'm really ready to embark on making that happen for me. It fits with my lifestyle. Again, not no kids, single. I'm talented, so I could travel and go wherever I go and continue doing what I'm doing to create income for myself. I love networking and interacting with other like-minded people and soul. Met a beautiful sister just commented, Monique Weston. Was your name Divine or Divinity? I forget. Forgive me. But that sister is doing amazing things, doing Africa retreats with people, taking people to Africa. Like, I ain't gonna say I ain't meeting people like this, but you gotta get out of your comfort zone. You gotta get Divinity. Yes, Sister Divinity. You gotta get out of your comfort zone, get out of your city and your hometown to experience some of these things. And this message has been heavy on my heart for the last few months. I have a person in my life that came into my life last year, put me onto a lot of games, taught me a lot about gardening, ended up being a ghost. Can't keep in touch with the man. It's probably not gonna be in the cards for us. But I love him dearly, and some of the things that he taught me and some of the things he's been telling me as of late, I was taking offense to it. Like, basically telling me to get out of my city and my comfort zone. I was taking offense because I'm like, I do so much in my city. I know people in my city. I'm connected. I got resources, da 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 da. And in a way, it is comfortable. It's comfortable to know that I kind of got pulled in the city based on who I know and who I am and how long I've been living here. But it's even more of a, I don't know. I could just feel more about myself knowing that I can go other places and still be me and still do what I do and still reap the benefit of it. But building these new connections, I just feel so abundant and uplifted. I really enjoy meeting the people that I met, seeing the things that I saw. And yeah, this is going to be the life for me. So I'm going to close with saying that I look forward to manifesting my highest self in my path and land, and hopefully having some retreats that you all can come to one day just to try it out. It's not a life for everybody, but for those that are intrigued or that want to get out the matrix or want some separation, or maybe you want two living styles, maybe you want to have your in-city home and then you got your off-grid space, whatever it is that you may desire or come to learn. I know a lot of you have been intrigued by my gardening journey. Someone before I got on live just hit me up about coming to help me in my garden. I will take all the assistance I can get, okay? But I'm going to be continuing to show you guys that journey: hydroponics, growing indoors, growing outdoors, container gardening, and I'm also going to be giving you some insight on this transition to off-grid living. So make sure, if you're not subscribed to my YouTube channel, to do so. My name is Morgan Myers, MorganMyers. You'll see a red logo with an M inside. That stands for my business, which is More My Edutainment Group. Be on the lookout for some upcoming events. We're no longer, me and my roommates are no longer doing the backyard garden kickback, but I have decided to continue doing something of that nature. For those that don't know, the Backyard Garden Kickback was an outdoor live music and talent showcase. So we had a live band. My roommate got a live band. We had amazing performers, poets, lyricists, singers, just the works, and amazing vendors. So we're no longer collaborating on that collectively, but I will still be hosting the what we call the More My Experience, and I'll have the Garden Edition next summer. But prior to that, I have different retreats coming up where we'll be having some plant medicines going on. I have some shaman friends that want to get together, and if you want to learn more about psychedelics and things like that, I'm also going to be having my book tour for my anniversary of my poetry book, The Celibacy Chronicles. I don't know where it's at right now. It's around here somewhere. But yeah, my poetry books turns 5 this December. Hi, Marquis said, we outside, baby. We is literally. And if you ain't trying to be outside with me, baby, we can't even talk. Like, I can't even date you if you want to live in a let me stop. I can't even date you if you want to live in a house in the city. Nah, but my camera's about to end over here on this here Instagram. So let me just go ahead and stop it. Thank y'all for tuning in. But yeah, I'm about to continue doing my experiences. Got my book tour 5-year anniversary. I'll be doing 3 cities so far, 19th and 11th. I want to do Greensboro, Winston, and High Point out here in North Carolina. But if the need is there or the interest, I may be looking forward to going to some places like Virginia or DC area, Atlanta, maybe even Florida. Who knows? But basically, I want to have like a talk back. Excuse me. With people, because the book is really good. It's only 17 poems, and it's really not talking about not having sex. It's more so talking about my journey as a 20-something-year-old at the time. I'm 31 now. I was 26 when I wrote it. But just my journey of growing up like without my father, and like being addicted to porn, and having access, being in college, having access to men, and how alcohol influenced certain decisions. Just all kind of things. Divinity said, "Oh man, I want that book. I started Sales Journey almost a month ago. Girls on Amazon, $15. Check me out, sis. It's really good. I guess I'll close out with a poem. This is unrelated to Black to Nature, but this is a part of the More of My Experience. So stay tuned. Look forward to upcoming events and things that I'm hosting. And check out my YouTube again to stay updated with this off the grid vlog. So I'll end you with this poem from my book called Lust Demons. Got these lust demons fiending, screaming for a way to get on top. Don't take much. Wine, beer, Henny, and a little pop. That's when that freak come out so nasty you can't stop. Any and everything coming out your mouth. I like all types of men, but I'm a sucker for the ones down south. Southern drawl in my drawers on best friend's couch. Anywhere, here or there, let's see how this plays out. Hurt feelings, emotions, what's beyond this route? Really need a release, but I'm feeling pressure not to hang out, cause every time I do, we mix the gin and the juice somewhere laid out. Trying to prove a point to please his penis. All I need is love. Church folks say call on Jesus, but I can't touch him physically or feel him like I need him. This freedom to give him my value is so lethal. Substance abuse and narcotics make this easier to deal with. Let's heal this. Where do I begin? Confessing myself or someone else my sins, exuding patience to levitate greatness, laying different places, different faces, doing lesser progressions, doing me in. It feels good for now until the pain starts to seep in. Next morning, plan B's and wish it wasn't me's. Crazy baby mama drama we never foresee. Tag team friends want interns to have drama then flee. This is you. This is me. This is us. This is we. This is no unpopular belief. That's Lust Demons from my book, The Celibacy Chronicles. Let me see. I ran out of all the good copies. This is a little rinky dink first edition, just got messed up. You can't really tell, but the artist is Dare Couture. This is a vagina, the labia, the lips, the clitoris. There's a woman in it. And I feature 13 different artists within the book, local artists. One is out of Atlanta, the rest live in North Carolina. This is Sangria Sorrows by Tayamika Mabry. Really just a really cool book. That's the Lust Demons picture. And so I wanted to give some more insight to it, give the artist some, some more exposure and ways to sell prints, because the first book signing I had back in December 2017, it was a book signing. They were able to auction off their artwork, but now I want to print some posters, stuff I should have been doing throughout this 5 years, but that's neither here nor there. But yeah, I appreciate y'all. Again, stay tuned. Just stay tuned on all the amazing things that I'm going to be posting about. And make sure, if you haven't got your live alkaline water, to hit me up. You can go to www.heavyenergy.com and hit the live alkaline water tab if you choose to get some, because we ship all over. Put in the code MOREMY21, MOREMY21. We have glass bottles, we have plastic 20-ounce bottles, we have gallons, and we have 5 gallons. We deliver all over North Carolina, and also we have a pickup station in Atlanta at the New Black Wall Street. Actually, that's in Stonecrest, Georgia, which is about 30 minutes outside of Atlanta. But yeah, stay hydrated, and thank y'all so much for tuning in. And I'll see y'all real soon with some more updates about my life and all the events and happenings and goings on. All right, peace and love.